We're here for Tuesday media availability with Travers family head football coach Justin Wilcox. Let us know in the chat if you have a question, and we'll get started. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with Jeff Ferrado from Cal Sports Report. Go ahead, Jeff.
Justin, can you talk about what you feel like you got achieved in the bye week and the progress that you hope you've made?
Yeah, we had a real solid week last week. We practiced Monday through Thursday. We had a workout on Friday. We also got some recruiting in late in the week for our staff. On the field, it was a combination of honing in on some things that we need to improve upon, offense, defense, and special teams, and then also continuing to use some of that available time to develop guys on our team who aren't getting as many game reps. So we spent a great deal of time on that, and then also work to get a head start on USC.
Okay, we'll go ahead and other first round questions. Let us know in the chat. Okay, we'll go to Steve Croner from the San Francisco Chronicle.
And Justin, now with Fernando having 2 games under his belt and a bye week, how much better can he be the last 5 games of the season than what he was? And he was pretty good the first 2 games he played.
Yeah, I think he's just going to continue to get better and better. One thing Fernando has shown in a short time is the ability to learn from a mistake. And he's the type of guy, usually you tell him one time or he experiences something one time, then he'll be able to learn from that and not make the same mistake twice. So he's got a lot of good football in front of him. He's still obviously a very young player, but I'm very encouraged by his ability to learn and go into the game and see the game, process what the defense is doing, the decisions that he needs to make with the ball. I think he's doing a good job there, and I think he's just going to continue to get better.
Okay, anybody else with an opening round question here for Coach? We'll go to Thomas Dunn from Ryford, California.
Good morning, Justin. Obviously, as a head coach, there's a lot more that you have to do with administration and operations with a football team. But with your history as a defensive-minded head coach, how do you wrestle with the balance of being more active with Peter Sermon in meetings versus just letting him figure out what he believes the struggles to be on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, it's a program. Anytime we're not performing well in any given unit, it's a program issue. Those guys. Our defensive staff, those guys are really good football coaches. They know football. Obviously, we're it's not one player or one unit. It's not one call. And I think overall, we just have to do a better job making sure our guys are in the right places. They understand what to do, and they know how to do it, and then ultimately having the confidence and the ability to go out and perform on game day. And whether tackling really came up in our last game against Utah, so we spent a ton of time on tackling and leverage and the making the plays on the ball carrier. We've talked a lot about finding ways to get negative plays and or sacks. We had the opportunity to get sacks in our last game. We didn't finish them, and that was really due to tackling. So I think if we had tackled better, we had more sacks, and the negative plays looked better. So I think those things, we're obviously always looking at scheme. We look at scheme each and every week on what our players are showing that they're good at, things that maybe are giving our opponents issues, and try to marry those two. That's something that we always will do. But I would say we have really good coaches on defense. We're not playing as well there as we all expect to, and that's a shared responsibility between all of us, coaches and players.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to Jeff Ferrano. Go ahead, Jeff.
Justin, speaking of defense, what do you make of USC's defense the last month or so? They seem to really be scuffling and they're not stopping the run well. In particular, what's your sense of that unit and that you'll be facing?
Yeah, I think they're really talented. I think one thing to consider, all of us, like we need to perform better on defense. You also, I think, there's some credit needs to go to some of these offenses. The offenses that you're seeing are very, very gifted and talented offenses. Very different than a few years ago. Not that they didn't have good players, but the level of talent has certainly been improved. Our job is to, regardless of who we're playing, to go out and play good defense. Looking at their defense, I think they have excellent edge players. They create a lot of negative plays on their own, either sacks or tackle for loss. They have a guy inside, number 90, who is a very, very talented, gifted player. I mean, extremely talented. The safety is very, very good. So I think they got very talented players, and we're expecting them to play well.
Do you think we're in an era, to some degree at least, where those 14 to 10 games are maybe mostly a thing of the past?
Well, Jeff, it's hard to, I think every year things change, and it's hard to measure, compare one year to last year. The only way you know is if the two teams would play each other. And so, somebody brought this up this past week, and obviously we have to do a better job on defense. I think tackling is a major issue we have to get better at, negative plays, one-on-one wins on the ball. And we were talking about some past years, and I think it is important to also recognize, like, you're not playing the offenses from 2019. You're playing some very gifted offenses, and doesn't mean we can't go out and play well. But to compare the two, I don't know that that's realistic. And I also think, week to week, you kind of see sometimes there's a lot of times these kind of explosive games, and then once in a while you'll see a lower scoring affair for one reason or another. And when you look at these games, there's usually a handful of plays that just kind of swing it one way or the other. And we could go through ours, or you look at some others in the conference, but I think overwhelmingly the offenses are very, very talented in our conference, and it's challenging on the defenses. But as I said before, regardless of who we're playing, we need to go out and hold ourselves to the standard of what we're capable of being, and we're not quite there yet by any means. We're not there at all, and so that's what we're concerned with.
Okay, we'll go back to Thomas Dunn.
Kyle, I didn't have anything, Kyle.
Okay, we'll go back to Steve Croner.
Yeah, just following up on USC, and I've heard some coaches say Caleb Williams might be the best quarterback they've ever faced. I don't know if you think that highly of him, but I'm sure you think highly of him. What makes him so distinctively good?
Yeah, he's. I do think that highly of him. I'm trying to think of the other ones, and Marcus Mariota playing against him was really, really challenging. Caleb is. I didn't coach against Andrew Luck, but I know that people, spoke that way against of him. Anyway, he's really strong. Naturally a really strong guy. He's got elite arm talent, very, very accurate, and plays with great calm. Really not ever flustered. He can move in the pocket, and you have to play the play on schedule, and then you have to play the play off schedule. And meaning, even if the first initial read's not there, or if somebody did get some pressure and, move the pocket or get him out of the pocket, now you have a different play you have to defend, the second half of it. And so he's, that all those things combined, obviously, won the Heisman Trophy. So he's a special talent, and I know our guys are excited to play against him again.
To follow up with a bigger picture question. Everybody in the conference, except for Stanford, you're playing for the last time for the foreseeable future. But be honest, the Cal-Utah rivalry is not the same thing as the Cal-USC or the Cal-UCLA. I know you got bigger fish to fry this week than thinking about the end of the rivalry. But if you could talk for 30 seconds about the end of the rivalry, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, I think it's we could have a lot longer discussion about this after the year. Right now, You mentioned it. Like all we're focused on is putting together the best plan we can, having a great week of practice to go play our best football, because that's what it'll take to win. Setting that aside, it's really sad, and kind of shameful the way this whole thing went down. We're excited to be, a part of the ACC moving forward. But Steve, I'd love to sit down with you after the season. We could have a great talk about all this, because I do have a lot of strong feelings about it. And it's, I don't know, I know for the fans of the conference, of the schools individually, it's a sad deal. So it's a great, the in-state rivalries are special. We're excited to play this weekend, and as I mentioned, our entire focus is on that. But I'm more than happy after the season to sit down with you and talk through that.
I look forward to it. Let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to Matt Moreno from Rivals.
I came up with Oregon State, but obviously, USC has a dangerous punt returner, Zach Branch. How do you kind of go about game planning for someone as dangerous as him?
Yeah, he is a, not just the punt returns, the kick returns. I mean, he's a elite returner. It takes everybody. It takes the kicker and or punter and ball placement. It takes the snapper. It takes everybody in coverage. Again, even if you do everything correctly on the grease board, and you get the guy clean to the ball, I don't know that there's not a ton of people have made the one-on-one play. So we're going to have to take our shots and be aggressive, and then we got to have great pursuit to the ball. You cannot stay blocked against these guys, because he can make a guy miss. And so it's a team effort, and it's everybody involved. And it's as I mentioned, it's the cover guys, it's the snapper if we're on punt, it's the punter if we're on punt, it's the kicker if we're kicking the ball off, and it's every individual in coverage. It's the offense moving the ball so we don't get backed up punts. I mean, that's a big deal too. So he's a very, very talented player, as we've seen.